Hello everyone, hope everyone is well. Yeah, so hope everyone had a good weekend. Myself did, and ready for pretty much the second half of April. There is about 2 weeks left of April, so so far so good for me personally. April, if you guys see some of my trading updates and recaps, this month so far is actually a very good month. So I actually thought it's very good so far in this second quarter of the year so far. And looking forward to more opportunities. Looking forward to more opportunities in a couple of the markets. We'll go over crypto, we'll go over Forex, we'll go over indices, and we'll go over commodities as well. So if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any pairs you want me to go over, you're welcome to put it in below and I can take a look when I see them. Okay, so I can start with crypto first. We'll talk about crypto a little bit. I think crypto had some bearish market during the weekend. I myself got on two positions that I updated you guys in my trade recap. Both positions just got off for a little bit of profit, and I think that's the best that I can hope for, best that we can get for when the market start dropping, right? There's nothing much we can do. It was actually running pretty good for Litecoin, and then we had a pretty bearish drop down. And but there's always kind of a sign from the market, right? I always talk about there's always a sign from the market that we're getting something here. And clearly, to me, head and shoulder pattern, and then we have this bearish move drop down. Stellar also had pretty bearish move for the price. Again, similar kind of head and shoulder fashion, in my opinion, and price drop down. And all we can do as traders, all we can do as consistent sustainable trader is to make sure we adjust our risk management. We have stop loss in place. We have good management approach. And for me, both traders got off for 1%. There's not much I can do to stretch it out. There's no point to have a higher stop loss and then to choke the price. In my opinion, having a little bit more stop loss higher is just going to give price not enough room to correct, not enough room to move, and then I would choke the price. Because I got this question from some of you guys saying, why didn't you secure a little bit more profit on both trade? Well, if I did that, it's kind of the same approach like Binance Coin. Uh, if I was to purposely move up the stop loss higher, I wouldn't have captured this entire run, right? If I was to choke the price here, price tag me out here, and then miss on 9%, well, that's gonna make you even more emotional, right? So always have a trading plan, always have a risk management, so that when you enter these trades, when you manage it accordingly, uh, if the market decides to take you out, there's nothing you can do. But if you focus on your plan, if you stick to your plan, your trade will your overall profit is going to work out for you in the long run. And to me, for Litecoin and Stellar, I'm perfectly fine just taking 1-to-1 here. I just didn't want to choke the price. Just doesn't make sense for me to choke the price here. And then if it's going to form a little bit deeper correction before the next upside, then that's it. So I want to get that out of the way first, because when I post about the result of these two, I got some of the question on that, and I thought that's a good way to address it. Remember, we can never buy the lowest and sell the highest. That's always what I'm trying to tell everyone. Is we as price action traders, we as consistent trader, we're trying to get in the market, get out of the market, and if the price is indicating or giving you a bearish kind of price action, then you adjust accordingly. Okay, so those are the two trades that I was running after my trade recap video, but now it's all closed, so I have no position running at the moment. No position in crypto, no position in Forex right now. But I will look forward to a few markets. We'll see what's going on. All right, everyone. So let's get started. Let's get started now. What are my opinions on what happened to the recent drop last night? Not much, to be honest. I don't know if there's news. Frankly, I don't really care if there's news. Crypto, as I know it, it's always something like this. There's nothing to it. So that's what I'm saying. We adjust our price, we adjust our stop loss, we manage it accordingly, and we'll look for more opportunity in the future. Okay, so that's my approach on it. I don't think too much about it because crypto in general is that kind of market, right? And that's how a lot of traders get trapped and they lose money. But we're here for the long haul, right? So we need to make sure we have good ways to adjust, good way to manage our trades, and go from there. All right. So we're gonna get started with, I'll go over a few crypto pair first. Obviously, most of them are income and bearish, so I don't have really any entries at the moment. I don't have anything right now, but I will talk about a few trades or a few potential that I can see that I will develop in upcoming days or a week. So personally, when I'm looking at, let's talk about Cardano right now. Which coin should I buy right now? Not much, my friend. I don't see much coins right now, but we'll wait for a little bit more development. What are you most bullish on right now? Not too much on crypto, but I'll go over a few. So Cardano is the first one I want to talk about. Remember when the price broke around here in this high, I told pretty much everyone do not buy here if there's no continuation correction. Pretty much we hit the high here and then it was consolidating here a bit, and I mentioned make sure you wait for the price to break above and followed by continuation. If that doesn't happen, don't jump in the trade because this is exactly what happens. So again, a lot of traders tend to probably want to jump in here, fear of missing out. They think this is going to take off without them, and just to see the drop like this. But this is exactly kind of what I was forecasting before, right? I want to see that move down to the price, and even though this pushed up to the bottom, but ultimately what I want to see is a move down to the bottom, completing a bigger continuation correction, and I'm looking for upside afterwards. So this move down here is crucial, and it's needed to complete this correction anyway. So I want to see this move down. If we can correctly move down more to the bottom here, perfect. Waiting for some sort of reversal correction, impulse correction, and looking forward to complete this larger correction. So that's something I will definitely wait for in this upcoming week if we can get a completion of this larger higher time frame correction. As we can see, price has been moving up very bullishly, and I do expect another correction here to go. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm gonna finish the crypto market first before I go into Forex. So just bear with me on the Forex pairs. I'm gonna go over crypto first. Okay. So BNB. So I want to talk about Binance Coin. Binance Coin is another one that I'm definitely watching out for. If you guys recall, the first Binance Coin I got here was after this larger correction finished. So we have impulse correction, looking for the next impulse, right? So I was able to capture most of these moves, and exactly what I was looking for to see is a larger correction, some sort of continuation correction in the making. And I want to see this correction complete and potentially look for another buy opportunity. It's going to be exactly the same entry, same kind of style, same kind of management, right? When we see this larger correction, we know that a higher time frame correction leads into a potentially next impulsive phase. So impulse, correction, impulse, okay? And now that we have this next impulse, obviously looking for another continuation correction, which is kind of what I'm waiting for here. This can be like a channel or a flag. It's good that it's consolidating. It's not moving up and down too much. What it is telling you that we're just correcting for this previous move here. Um, but my ultimate kind of confirmation will be at least this correction needs to complete. We want to see a clear lower time frame breakout and lower time frame continuation. That is something that I will be looking for a potential upside. I do see another scenario that may happen. This is why we say correction. We're not 100% sure when the correction will finish, but we have a pretty good understanding that this can be a correction. This current correction that we're seeing can be the correction. And sometimes we're just going to form a deeper correction, something like this, and then still upside afterwards. Okay, so make sure when you're looking for an entry, something like this, you want to make sure when we reach the top here, at least your position is at break even or maybe in a little bit of profit, because sometimes we're going to see correction form a deeper correction. It pretty much evolves into a bigger correction like this. And still upside afterwards, right? Still upside afterwards after we correct a larger scale. Okay, so make sure you understand that is how the correction works. We don't know 100%, but we have a very good understanding when the correction can finish, and we adjust our management accordingly. Okay. So moving on to BTC, BTC has been dropped a little bit. So I want to talk about what I see from this point on. If we look at this overall price action here, it looks like an ascending channel now, right? Kind of a rising wedge, so to speak. We broke this previous high. Again, we broke the previous high, but no continuation. Okay, so remember, every time I emphasize that if you're looking for a bullish move when we break some previous high, you want to wait for a consolidation. You want to wait for a continuation correction. If that doesn't form, that is pretty much a signal for the market telling you that we may not get that bullish move continuously. And guess what? If we look at the lower time frame, it pretty much just had a very clear impulse correction, and impulse out of this larger kind of a rising wedge ascending channel kind of structure, and we are at this area now. We have seen crypto like this before. We have seen this kind of move all the time. How do we kind of deal with it? Well, we just kind of have to wait, right? This is why patient plays off. The market rewards the trader who are patient, because there's really no setup here at this moment. I can see one or two scenario where this impulse will lead into a correction like this, and then we're looking for further downside to the lows here. That's one possibility. And sometimes when we have this kind of a very strong bearish breakdown, and eventually we just start recovering back up, and that's how sometimes the market works. We see that happen here. We see that many times before the market start climbing up again, right? Either see a bigger consolidation after a push down like this, and then still resume the uptrend, or it just leads into a slower incline like this, but eventually we're gonna break the previous high. Okay, so nothing here right now, guys. I really wouldn't buy here, or I wouldn't be selling here unless there's a little bit more confirmation here. Okay, so that's what I see on Bitcoin right now. I will go over a few crypto after I finish the ones I'm talking about. So you guys are welcome to write down a few crypto pairs if you want me to take a look at them. I will finish talking a few that I'm looking at first, though. Okay. So let's move on to Ethereum. So Ethereum again, we see these kind of head and shoulder at the top, right? So almost every single one of them. When I look at the charts today, I didn't really look at the charts through the weekend. When I look at the charts today, I pretty much see head and shoulder on pretty much all the crypto, right? So tell me if that's not a sign from the market, right? Tell me if price action is not a sign from the market. It gives you a very clear idea where the market is really going. But same approach like Bitcoin is, we see these kind of bearish drop before, right? We see them before all the time. But does that automatically lead into a bearish move? Not necessarily, right? If you look at how the price has moved in the past, we have this drop down, okay? We have this drop down, and we start forming some sort of correction. Will this form into some sort of correction like this? Inverse head and shoulder, which is kind of what I'm seeing here, and then still resume the bullish trend. That's very possible, right? So I wouldn't right away just start putting this as a bearish kind of market now, or thinking you should be selling all your crypto positions. I don't see it that way. If you have crypto in your wallet, I always say it's good to hold crypto for the long term. But if you're trading crypto, if you're trading especially with margin or leverage, you should be pretty careful, right? Because the volatile in the market is real. It's a lot more volatile than a couple other markets. So you want to be wary if you're not very familiar with trading margin or trading with leverage, especially you don't have good risk management or a very good mindset when it comes to crypto, when it comes to volatile markets, because that can lead to a lot of emotional decisions. So that's what I see in Ethereum. I just wanted to see a little bit more development here. This can be the same area like this. We can lead into some sort of reversal correction here, and then we still resume afterwards for the bullish price. Okay, moving on to Link. I do want to talk about Link myself as well, because Link had a push up on the price. We see this push up on the price, and pretty much just breaking the high here exactly where I think the price will go, and then had a really bearish move down. But same approach, right? We have a bearish move down, but you can tell for the lower time frame it's kind of inclining already. Okay, this usually happens, right, when the market is trapping a lot of retail traders to buying here, and then just to take them all out. And then now it has liquidation, now it has uh, enough momentum now, then we just resume the price afterwards, right? That's a lot of times we see that happening. So that's why I always tell all my people, all my followers, if you're trading crypto, just beware of the volatile market. The overall trend, the overall bullish price action, I think we all agree that we have been pushing up very, very fiercely, right? All these buy positions I point out, it's all valid, right? They all go up, but sometimes you're going to run into something like this, right? Just like when we had this bullish push up, had a very more corrective decline like this, but eventually leads into a bullish price. Okay, so right now I'm really not seeing much. If you're looking for a buy though, because there's a couple of scenarios that I can see that's happening, we could probably form a bigger correction like this, and then we still go up afterwards, which is what I want to see primarily. Sometimes we're just going to see a more slowly incline like this, and then break the previous high, and then continue upwards. That's something I see as well. Uh, the unlikely scenario, same thing as what I talked about in Bitcoin, is that we might get a deeper correction for a bearish move down like this. But I don't see that as likely. Okay, we see these kind of push down a lot for the crypto, but judging how we have moved in the past, eventually leads into a bullish trend afterwards. So again, patient, right? I talked about this in the beginning. Just be a little bit more patient, waiting for the price to happen. We don't need to get in on the price if there is no development, or we're still waiting for further development in this area. All right, let's move on to Litecoin. So Litecoin, I got a Litecoin for a one-to-one profit. It was looking pretty good in the beginning. We have this bullish trend. We know that it was pushing up pretty impulsively, and was looking for continuation. But again, we broke the high, we continue going up, and then we have that sharp decline from here. So what do I expect this from moving forward? Well, we're very close to the all-time high now, which is kind of my first target for this particular trade. Um, we didn't continue. We kind of just had a sharp incline down. So again, is this going to form a bearish correction here that's going to lead down further? Not likely, in my opinion, after again seeing what the overall trend has been doing. This is always a question I get a lot, is when traders see maybe like a 5-minute or lower time frame flag, they're thinking this is automatically sell. It's not necessarily, right? When I talk about multi-time frame analysis, what has to be price moving? This is a very good uptrend, right? Impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, right? So we have been in a very strict kind of bullish kind of trend. This is just a temporary lower time frame, in my opinion, pullback. We could expect same thing to form a deeper correction, because this can just be all the impulse move from this correction here, and now we're just going to get another correction like this before the next up move again. Just have what we have seen in the past, just what we have seen in the past, and just what we have seen in the past as well. Okay, so that's what I mentioned in my Telegram. I mentioned I do see most of them in order to fall into a deeper correction, which is what I want to see. And after the deeper correction, I can still expect the bullish move on price. All right, so that's what I see on Litecoin, and that's also what I update you guys in the beginning is all we can do is manage your trade accordingly. There's no point getting emotional that I didn't secure a little bit more profit. I couldn't have anyways, because I want to give price more room for if it's going to correct here and then correct itself to push to the upside, then I don't want to choke the price. And this is why having a trading plan is a must in trading. You can't just make an emotional decision here where you'd be like, oh, well, this time I'm going to let this trade run. Next time I'm going to close it for profit. Well, that's making emotional decision, because when do you decide to do that? What if you decide to take profit here and price take off, and you're going to hate yourself to be taking profit here? Whereas what if you don't take profit here and then price start dropping down all the way to your entries and you take out for break even after making about 2%? That's also going to be emotional as well. So to remove emotional decision is to have a trading plan, right? Make sure you have good risk management, have trading plan, so that I know myself when I enter the position, when prices start going up to the upside, I first move the stop loss to break even, just like I update everyone. When I start seeing a clear kind of bearish kind of price action on the top, then I knew that the bullish potential, it may not be there anymore, and I don't want to take a break even after making 2%. So I want to secure some profit, usually 0.5 or 1% profit, and then go from there. That is my plan, and that is how I will always adjust to the market accordingly. Okay, so remember, you cannot control the market. You cannot control where the market is going, but what you can control is your entry, stop loss, take profit, your management, and so on. Okay. So moving on to Stellar. So Stellar was a trade that I was in. Again, take out profit about 1%. It was at the around the highest point, it was about 3-to-1 profit. I'm fine with 1-to-1. Again, same thing, same approach. I wanted to give the price a little bit more room to move if it's going to move a correction like this. But instead, same kind of price action we see from the top here. We drop down. So what do I expect from Stellar now? Well, I still like the overall price, just like Litecoin, right? If we just zoom out, don't let this last day or so, don't let this last day of the price scare you for how the price has been moving. We notice this is how the price has been moving. Very bullish, very impulsive, and we're moving up still, right? We see these sharp kind of drop in the past, but most of the time price just forms a deeper consolidation and then eventually leads into the next output. Okay, so that's still my approach on these. Even though I'm out of the trade position, but I'm still holding the coins. Remember I talk about it's good to have coins to hold as actually as investment, and you can also trade them, right? So trading, get out of the trade, but you can still hold the coins for a long-term approach, and I still see a lot of potential upside for Stellar. Definitely see it reaching all-time high here, and then potentially just continue the bullish move afterwards. Okay, so this week, want to just be a little more patient, waiting to see what will happen here. Again, if it forms some sort of bearish continuation, right? Bearish continuation price downward forming potentially a bigger head and shoulder, then something is up here. Then the higher time frame is telling you something different. Then if you have trades, you have coins, you want to adjust accordingly. I think that's fair. But for now, there's nothing up here yet, so we don't want to rush, or we don't want to jump into a conclusion that the bearish market is going to happen right away. All right. Last one I want to talk about is Ripple. Ripple pretty much impulsed to the upside already very fiercely. But naturally, I expected something like this. Naturally, I just expect a bigger consolidation that will happen, or a bigger structure that will happen like this before the next upside. Right? This is always what I tell everyone, is that when you see a strong move like this, which is doesn't seem like that on the chart, but if you really look at the numbers, it's triple its price, right? We started about 0.60 and went all the way up to almost $2. So that's almost 300%, right? That's went up by 3 times. Naturally, price needs to correct, right? Price needs to be in a consolidation to correct this previous move. That can give us another opportunity leading to the next impulsive move. So waiting for a bigger correction here is always ideal. It's always my plan. Deeper correction, the better. There's something for me here, but again, it's the same thing as what I point out. We might just see a deeper correction like this. That's also a possibility. Or this overall flag or channel can be the correction as well. We don't know yet, right? Because the correction is still developing, it's still forming. You can't be guaranteed or for sure this is all a correction we need to correct this overall move. Sometimes we're just going to get deeper correction like this, but I already have plan. We already have ways to get in the market if it's going to form something like this. If not, then wait for price simply just break out and a continuation. That's fine as well. Okay, so that's what I see on Ripple. And that summarizes pretty much all the ones that I'm looking at for this week ahead. Not much obviously shaping up. I want to see most of them develop into something better. That will be better for us to be patient here and wait for better development. Okay. So, any question on Ripple? Any question on any of the crypto I just went over? Any of these ones that I point out? I think there's really not much entry at the moment. I want to wait for bigger correction, bigger consolidation on most of them before I will looking for a trade entry again. New to technical analysis, sorry for the question. Where will you suggest a good place to start learning? I think you can start learning from TradingView. You can start learning from YouTube. There's a lot of free materials out there. TradingView is good. You can go on YouTube to learn. I personally have a lot of free material. You should be able to look. On my YouTube, you can learn about price action analysis. This is all about technical analysis. Every single video here about correction, about structures, about patterns. That's a good place to start. But it depends on who you are as a trader. Sometimes trading price action, trading technical analysis is different than people who trade support resistance, EMA or Fibonacci or different indicators people use. It's a lot different than these type of strategies. So everyone is entitled to a specific strategy or style that they trade, right? Everyone, you have to find what is suitable for you as a trader. So you should start looking at the free material online, right? Go to TradingView, go watch other people's charts, start learning about what people post, right? You can learn about different things. You can go from there and then go and start seeing which method, which strategy, or the way how people analyze what suits you better as a trader, and then start learning from it. Okay. So gold, I will go over gold after. Okay, let me finish up crypto here. I'll go over a few that you guys are talking about. I will go through a few really quickly. Can see, I'm gonna be honest. I think most crypto are not gonna be in very good shape, but I will go over these ones. Yeah, not much I'm seeing here, my friend. Same thing, right? Kind of a head and shoulder pattern. We drop. Is this going to be a bearish move to continue lower? That makes it into a bigger head and shoulder. It's hard to tell at the moment. And daily, higher time frame wise, not seeing too much here. Okay, that's KNC, XQXXP. SXP, not much here either, right? Head and shoulder here that I see we drop down. Again, is it going to be more bearish price action to go lower? It's too hard to tell, and there's not much going on here. It's exactly similar like that KNC that I just went over. I'm not seeing too much. It almost looks like we hit the high here, double top, and then we start dropping down from here. So be careful if you're in the trade or if you're holding. I'm not sure, but I'm not really seeing any right away bullish opportunity yet. Right, we want to wait for development in this area here. Will be ideal. CHZ. Yeah, well, we originally was looking pretty clean in my opinion for this one. I think I talked about this pretty much last week, if I recall. Strong impulsive move, corrective phrase. We were supposed to impulse up at least to hit the high here, but we didn't even hit the high. Instead, we push up and then reversal impulse, correction, impulse down again. Again, is to see if this is going to be a correction here, then push down lower, or we're going to slowly having that incline like this slowly. Okay, so wait for a little bit more development here. It's not quite clear yet here in this area, which is pretty much most of the crypto are in this similar situation at the moment. So let's wait a little bit more. Development would be more ideal. I don't really see a buy. I don't really see a sell here. UMA. UMA, again, not much I'm seeing here, right? This is just sideways consolidation price action. We originally had this impulse followed by correction, but we just don't have that bullish continuation that we usually want to see. Instead, this is just a sideways consolidation. There's really not much going on here except that this could be some sort of parallel or kind of ascending channel. We don't know what will happen right away yet. I don't see this bullish move up is enough to justify a buy. I think the overall price is still consolidating. Preferably is to see this move actually break this up and there's a clear lower time frame continuation. That's going to be better if you're looking for entry. But right now, that's not an entry to me. Yeah, I will finish up crypto and I will go to Forex and I'll talk about indices as well. Okay, so just bear with me right now. AVAX. AVAX, not much either, right? If I want to draw a correction here, I think I talked about this last week. It's the same kind of bearish kind of price action. You have an impulsive move up, reversal impulse, correction, impulse. This is a correction. We have another impulse. This is another correction. We have another impulse. So again, is it going to form a correction here to push lower? Right, we're not sure yet. So wait for a little bit more development. Again, this is kind of a sideways consolidation. There's not much going on here except just waiting for the price to develop further, right? Either we're going to form a correction here to go lower, or we're going to start seeing that incline up, right? But preferably to see this happen, break above this high, and then continuation up. So making this entire a reversal correction to go higher. Okay, so that's AVAX. This is actually looking pretty interesting. I do want to see kind of what I just mentioned is a above breakout and continue. That would be nice to see. Last one, RSR, and I'm gonna move on. So RSR, yeah, same thing as most of the crypto. We have a bullish price action before, right? We have this impulse correction. Most of the crypto already impulse up, and just through the weekend we have this really sharp bearish move down. So a reversal impulse. Again, waiting to see what will happen here. Is this going to give us a bearish continuation, making this a head and shoulder, or we're gonna see that slowly incline up? But I don't see much here at the moment. I don't have too much price here to give you a better breakdown. Maybe there's better ones. Yeah, there's not much previous data to see. So that's my current kind of put on this. Just wait to see this part to develop. All right, so let's move on, guys. Let's move on to other market now. So we spent quite a bit of time here on crypto, but mostly is nothing is ready in my eye. Talk about Cardano as well is a move down to the bottom here would be ideal to potentially look for a reversal, right? That's Cardano. So let's move on to the indices. I hear some of you guys talk about indices. I does talk about a few indices I'm looking at, and I'll talk about what I see on most of them. So I really want to talk about NASDAQ. I think NASDAQ could be something for this week coming up. I mean, this week ahead. This is the previous all-time high, right? If we zoom out here. Look how much price has recovered since the coronavirus time. So coronavirus, and then we climb up massively. This is kind of where area that I would be interesting is that we're at this all-time high, and this could be not for sure a double top, right? This is a potential double top. Potential double top, and we're looking to see if this is going to be a ascending channel reversal. Looks like we're forming something here, which is definitely the first thing we want to see. We have some sort of ascending channel pushing above this previous high or all-time high, which is what we want to see when we see ascending channel. And same approach when I see these kind of extreme highs or all-time highs, is waiting for that sharp impulse down, right? Followed by a continuation, and we're looking for sells. Okay, we're not looking for buys because we're at the all-time high already, right? If you're looking for a buy, it should be a buy after we break out this correction. This should be the buy that you enter. But now that the price is back at all-time high, we're looking for sell potential now because we know how the price works. We have seen similar price action all the time when we have a corrective structure pushing up to the previous high, and then we have a very sharp impulse and move down and then continue to the downside. So don't just start selling here though, right guys? Make sure you wait for confirmation. Right, my confirmation is I need to see the price break out of this ascending channel and there's a clear continuation correction to sell. Right, selling here without no confirmation is like giving the money to the market. Right, there's nothing developing here for you to sell yet. That's why we wait for development, we wait for confirmation to be consistent. Okay, no point to jump in when just because you see a ascending channel, this doesn't guarantee the price is going to go down. Okay, so that's that. Quickly talk about S&P 500. S&P 500 is another one I'm looking at as well. We like this overall ascending channel or kind of expanding structure. Overall, we're just kind of larger correction to making. What I really like about it is this last bit of the price. We broke this previous all-time high really, and we fall into this ascending channel once again. I love to see the kind of reversal structure at the top of the overall structure. Right, you can clearly tell we're at the top of the overall structure. There is clearly a correction going on. This is not an impulsive phase. Impulsive phase that we usually see are going to be fast and fierce, right? This is a corrective phase I'm seeing. So same approach, same management, same style is I'm going to wait for the clear breakdown for the price, clear continuation correction. I'm looking for the sell down to the low if we give that really strong bearish move down. We see these patterns all the time before, right? We see ascending channel, we see the price continue to move up, move up, move up, move up, just to see it drop very fast. Okay, we're at that top similarly as well. So keep an eye on these ones. Okay, keep an eye on these ones. If it plays out, it's going to be very, very fast, just like how coronavirus is when we have that drop down. Okay, so that's S&P 500, NASDAQ we talk about. These are the two that I look like it's going to be pretty close to ready this week. But be careful, we're looking for confirmation. And I wouldn't jump in on both of them. I would only take one of them. Again, risk management 101. If you're going to trade US indices, they're going to relatively move the same as well. If they're going to drop, they're all going to drop. If they're going to go up, they're likely to go up as well. All right, so I see crypto doesn't stop on weekend. No, it doesn't. It's a 24/7 market. And use MT4 if I set a break-even entry. Does it market respect? I'm not really sure actually because I don't use MT4 to trade crypto. I use all the crypto brokers to trade cryptos. So I'm not sure. You might have to demo or play around with that. I'm not really sure 100%. So I don't want to give you a wrong answer. Because I always use the actual crypto app if I was going to place an entry or whatever. But I'm not using MT4. So those are the two. There's someone asked about Hang Seng Index. Do I have that? So Hang Seng Index. What do I see about? I don't really trade this, so I'll take a look this. All I can see right now for this one is potentially there is a potential correction here in the making. I'm not sure if this is going to be a bullish correction yet, but overall we've been moving up pretty impulsively. If we look at these kind of price action that we have seen, this is from coronavirus, right? And after the coronavirus, we pretty much recover most of these prices. And is it to see that if this is going to lead into another bullish price action? As long as it's still in this correction, I wouldn't jump in on it. I would prefer to wait for price to break out and continue afterwards. Okay. What is the confirmation on index? Is it the impulse or the correction? Both. Both, my friend. This is why you need to have we need to have very good strict plan, good management, good trading plan, right? The first impulse is the first confirmation. The next confirmation is a continuation correction, right? So I want to see two confirmation in order for me to get involved with this. If I don't see that, then no trade for me. I move on to other opportunities. Nifty, sure. I'll talk about Nifty. Um, looks like we're forming a bigger kind of consolidation here. It looks like this is some sort of a potential bullish kind of a flag or channel. If this is going to move up, finish correcting, wait for the correction finish, wait for the breakout, wait for lower time frame continuation. That's kind of how I see. If we see how much price has been moving up already, and this bit of the area is somewhat correcting, right? It's somewhat correcting this area. So that is my approach on it. Again, wait for confirmation breakout, wait for correction here, and look for a potential entry like this. I'm going to talk about Forex now, guys. I'm talking about Forex. So if you have any pairs on Forex, I will talk about it. Dollar Swiss, I'll talk about it. Euro dollar, I'll talk about it. Any other Forex pair you guys want me to talk about, I will talk about it as well. Uh, there's a question on, do you have a Forex broker that you would recommend for US traders? I personally use Oanda, an Axie trader for Forex. So Oanda, Axie trader for Forex, my personal. For crypto, I use Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance. Those are the ones I use. Pound yen dollar index, yeah. Yep, you're welcome, you're welcome. So I will talk about these pairs unless you guys have any other ones. We'll start from the top. So I want to talk about dollar index first. Let's take a look at dollar index for this week. So start from a higher time frame of the dollar index. What do I see here? I've been kind of going over this kind of on a weekly basis where there's a few things that we can happen while we're in this correction. Right away, the first noticeable things I see is there is potentially a head and shoulder forming here. Okay, there's potentially a head and shoulder forming here. If this next few days we have a kind of a correction push up to this high here around this top, and then potentially there is a head and shoulder potentially a head and shoulder to continue lower. Okay, that's first thing I see on a higher time frame base, and that fits the overall higher time frame bias that we've been moving down, right? Very bearishly. Um, it's all about how this week what will happen in this area here. Are we just going to get bullish breakout and continue if the lower time frame is still in a bullish price action? Okay, the lower time frame to be can still be that bullish price action. Sorry, that's what I meant. a bullish overall price that we have been seeing. This latest bit here can just be some sort of a descending channel. It becomes a continuation for this move to continue higher. Okay, and that's why we need to watch out if that happens. If we push up to this high here, are we going to get a larger head and shoulder to push back down, or are we going to continue to the upside? Okay, so to me, it's not too clear right now, and this is kind of what I've been saying is there's kind of a both argument in this case, right? Higher time frame looks like we could potentially go lower. Lower time frame looks like there is still a chance that the bullish move can still happen. Okay, so my approach is this. I want to wait to see if this kind of a descending channel is going to complete, and we're going to see a bullish, at least on the lower time frame, to continue. Right? Expect this move to happen this week if we're expecting a bullish move on the lower time frame to continue. And even if it doesn't continue past this high, that's just what we talk about on the higher time frame. We could be getting a head and shoulder, and higher time frame we're still in this bearish continuation, potentially correcting this move down here. Okay, so look for this move in the beginning of this week, see if that's going to happen, and if it doesn't form a head and shoulder, if it just kind of continue higher, great. That means that the dollar strength can continue higher and higher, and we can expect the dollar to continue higher. All right. So that's my kind of what I see on dollar index for the week ahead. It's not 100% clear to me at the moment. I'd rather wait for that development that I point out. Head and shoulder, great to go lower. Or if it doesn't complete the head and shoulder, well, I want to see bullish break, bullish kind of continuation and continue higher. All right. So that is dollar index. So let's continue here. Let's talk about a few dollar pairs. I don't really have, you can see, I don't really have too much dollar pair. I don't have any yellow ones. If you guys know how I flag my pairs, no trades open. Primary watch list, really only a couple. Most of the watch list is on a secondary watch list. So not much is developing. I want to see more, but I will talk about a few dollar pairs, especially on Aussie and Kiwi dollars. I think there is kind of a mixed reaction, at least what I've been seeing, in my group. I've been seeing different opinions on this. So let's kind of break it down, please. Gold I will go over after Forex, okay? So I'm gonna go over the Forex pair. I'll wrap it up with gold. What do I see on Aussie dollar? Well, the original idea, the original bearish move for me was still that we have this correction, we push down lower, right? And I was looking to see if this is going to be a correction. But it turns out that it did not. We have this kind of a bullish push off on the price. Let me load it just to show you guys. Yeah, originally I was looking at if this is going to be another continuation to go lower, but instead it had this bullish push up. So it's kind of the same thing as last week when I wrap it up with last week outlook is, are we going to get continuation here? Some sort of lower time frame continuation. If that happens, and if you're looking for a buy like this, I think that's reasonable and valid because that is a clear lower time frame impulse, lower time frame correction. And if you're looking for a buy like this, if that fits your plan, sure. But for me, because I'm still not seeing what the overall higher time frame, right? The higher time frame, is this going to be some sort of flag pattern? If this is going to be a flag to go higher, then that lower time frame correction does make sense. But I can't help the fact that I still see the higher time frame bearish, right? I still see this could be some sort of ascending channel pushing up, rising wedge. This is an impulse, correction, impulse. Is this going to be some sort of deeper correction? If this is going to be a reversal point to go lower, then this can be a channel still, right? This can be a correction still to correct this impulsive phrase, and we can go down further from here. All right, so that's kind of the same as dollar index we went over, which I'll go over a few other dollar pairs as well. It's pretty much looking like this is a potential as well. Okay, so don't discount the fact that after we see a strong bearish move, you see how price correct pretty inclining, right? Pretty moving up like this before the next down move. Same thing can be happening here. We have an impulse up, we have a reversal impulse down, and then forming a correction like this. So impulse correction, and potentially impulse down further. Okay, so that is Aussie dollar, and pretty much could be similar like Kiwi dollar. Okay, Kiwi dollar can have that same kind of price action as well, right? Impulse correction, and potentially impulse again. This impulsive phrase moving up, if it's not followed by a continuation correction to go higher, expect some sort of consolidation here to push down. And then if there's a continuation here, head and shoulder pattern, we broke out this potential channel. If we can break from this previous low, then expect this bearish move down also. Okay, so that's Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar. That's kind of what I see for now on them. Okay, I can still see the higher time frame being bearish. Right, discount the fact that you see maybe one big candle here. That doesn't faze me from the fact that we have this higher time frame kind of ascending channel. Structure is more important, right? We see structure. I don't care about candlestick formation. It's more about structure is what it's telling us. We have a strong reversal correction. We have a strong impulse, right? This can lead into another correction here to go lower. Okay, so that is pretty much my current bias on Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar, and will lead into a couple dollar pairs. Let's go into euro dollar now. So I mentioned euro dollar looks bearish to me. Can you share my view? Yeah, I can share my view, of course. I will talk about euro dollar. But not much has happened since my last update. Again, this is that previous high. This can be a double top, right? I talk about this. And overall, to me, the price can make that one more low to the downside. We have seen we break out that higher time frame rising wedge. Impulse correction. Impulse, is this going to be some sort of correction like this and then still go down afterwards, making this a bigger structure? This is definitely an expanding structure that I talk about, more advanced, right? So something could be happening here, guys, right? This is a somewhat expanding structure. We have a kind of a high here, double top or triple top, and then we move on in this ascending channel within the larger expanding structure. So this is something good, in my opinion. I think this can be leading to something here. All that left now is to wait for this confirmation, right? We have ascending channel, that's good. We want to see that breakout from the ascending channel and then lower time frame continuation. I think this sell is valid, at least down to the low here. If there's enough risk reward to justify the sell, then that's great. Okay, so that's kind of what I see on this. Again, I see some of us are looking at a potential long here, and there's nothing wrong. Remember, guys, when I get these questions asking me, should I buy now or should I sell now? I always ask the question back is, what is your plan of entering? What is your trading plan? What is your risk management? What is your approach, right? Instead of following others, you should always have your own decision making. So if you're looking for buy here after this correction, well, just be aware that this is a previous high. You can help this is a previous high because they have a double top here before the price drop. This can lead into another double top that we're currently correcting right now. And same approach like Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar is if this is going to be consolidating here for a while and then we start dropping down, form another right shoulder here, and then continue to the downside, just like what I mentioned. If it completes this overall expanding structure that we saw on the 4-hour on a higher time frame, and then eventually leads into the next impulsive run to the downside. All right, so remember, correction can come in all sizes of form, all shapes and sizes. It's about identifying when a correction is likely to finish, and that's how we capitalize on the next impulsive phase. Okay, so that's euro dollar. I think that gives everyone a little bit more insights on what I want to see. Euro Swiss, I'll talk about that. Pound yen later, yes. LTS, I'm not sure what that is, but if that's crypto, I'll go back to crypto later. Moving on to a few more dollars. Pound dollar is another one I'm looking at still. I think pound dollar and a couple other pound pairs can still lead into a bearish pound. I still have a bearish kind of pound kind of bias. I like how we actually push out of this ascending channel on a higher time frame. There is a correction here that I point out. We have an impulse down and then another correction here. I like how there is a mini correction after this impulsive phrase. Some people are showing me a chart where they have a double bottom. Sure, if that's what you see or if that's in your plan. Overall, to me, I still see this as a ascending channel though. I still see this as a higher time frame channel, higher time frame correction, and the bearish price action to me is still there. The only part where I will kind of change my bias is if we break this previous high. If this move continue to be impulsive towards upside, not corrective. If it is correctively move up to the top here, still the same approach, still looking for sell. But if this move just impulsively break above the high or even break above the high here, and then continuation, then that's going to change my bias on this potential sell move. But for now, I'm not seeing that, and even this move here is looking pretty corrective as well. So it can correctively move up to the top here, forms a double top here, and then still drop downwards afterwards. Okay, all of this is that price is just forming a bigger correction here to correct its overall move, and still looking for downside afterwards. So that is pound dollar. Any questions, guys? Just throw it there. Let me know. I'm gonna continue. Dollar CAD again is for this week. I'm still looking at dollar CAD here. Overall, no question for me is still looking for upside, right? I'm still looking for upside after I see this kind of descending channel structure, and I like that we're still getting this reversal impulse kind of price action. This right shoulder continue to develop, or this right channel or right flag, however you want to see this. The longer, the deeper, the better it is for us, right? We understand when a correction goes deeper and longer, the stronger the next impulsive move that will happen. And I'm still waiting for this correction to complete, preferably to break out of this descending channel on a higher time frame and then continuation to the upside. Okay, if we look at the higher time frame here, this is the higher time frame where potentially in this descending channel we're still correcting, but I like how this is the previous low. You can argue that this is the previous low as well. Whatever it is, we're slowing down. Right? We're not in an impulsive phase anymore. Impulsive phase, corrective phase. Right? We have to distinguish the two to understand the difference, and we know that this is a corrective phase that we're currently in. So I wouldn't jump in on a corrective phase. Remember, when the correction happens, it could go on indefinitely. We don't know how long and how deep it will go. So getting trapped here is not ideal. We want to make sure the correction is almost finished or about to finish when we try to get in on the next impulsive phase, because the trades that you enter is likely to work out, it's likely to hit your target, and it's likely to be in a fast momentum where you will when the price is not correcting, that's an edge for us to be in. All right. Gold will review. Yes, thank you, Dan. I will talk about gold after all the currencies. Okay. Dollar Swiss. So I talk about dollar Swiss. So I'm looking at dollar Swiss here. I'd potentially be seeing this kind of a descending channel in the making. Originally, some of you guys got it on the sell here or the sell here. I saw some of you guys posting that. So good of you if you guys got that. So be careful here though, because we're seeing some sort of descending channel here now, right? We know descending channel in this kind of formation is likely to be a reversal. So if this move continue to correct and then eventually break out followed by correction, be where this move can continue to the top here. And what we might get here is a potential head and shoulder pattern to go lower. Okay, so that's why this move up here to here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to continue higher. Rather, we could be forming this kind of a pattern as well. Okay, so first thing first, this week, just watch out for this descending channel. I think there is potentially upside here for the lower time frame, but watch out for the higher time frame can lead into a still head and shoulder reversal, and we're going down further after. Okay, so that's what I see on dollar Swiss. Dollar, pound dollar, I think you'll probably get this a lot. I think some of you guys are seeing this as a channel. There's nothing wrong. Again, this is a good example for me to discuss right or wrong. There is no right or wrong of an analysis. I always get this question from people. I'm drawing the chart like this. I'm analyzing this way. Is it right or is it wrong? From years of experience, there's no right and wrong. If you're looking for a long, then you're looking for a long bias, right? And the long bias should be, well, if you see this as a potential channel, then you want to potentially wait for a breakout and wait for continuation. Okay, so are you talking about this? Well, I'm gonna talk about this anyways first because I get a lot of screenshots from people like this. So if they're looking for a long, then wait for confirmation to go long, right? And have a management, have a plan if you're looking for long. But why am I looking for short? Because, well, we have to zoom out a little bit, right? This is the higher time frame now. This is the previous high that we're potentially at right now. Price doesn't have to hit the high or break the high to be a double top. To me, this can be a double top as well. And I see this higher time frame ascending channel moving up, and potentially we're breaking down now. Okay, these kind of small support resistance that people draw, it doesn't really faze me. I don't see it as a support resistance. I see that we break out of this ascending channel. Potentially there is continuation correction. That's why I went over this earlier on the lower time frame. Even if this move pushes up like this, we're just forming a bigger correction. We're still going down. All right, so that's what I see on, making sure you understand there's no right and wrong, right? So when people ask me about is this analysis right, is this analysis wrong, there's no right and wrong, right? Make sure you understand that. You might be looking for a long, that's perfectly fine, and I might be looking for a sell, that's perfectly fine too, right? As long as you have a plan, you have a way to enter these positions, and you have a plan to set your stop loss, set your take profit, there's no right and wrong, right? Some people can be scalping and looking for buys on the 1 minute chart, and then someone could be swing trading, looking for a sell, but holding it for long term. So who's right and who's wrong? No one, right? There's no right and wrong in this. Okay, so make sure you understand that. The moment you understand there is no right analysis and there's no wrong analysis, is what suits your plan, and trading will be a lot easier for everyone. Okay. I'll talk about crypto afterwards, guys. I'm gonna finish Forex first. So moving on to a few yen pairs. I won't talk about. There's only really pound yen that's really on my watch. We can talk about pound yen first. We'll talk about pound yen first because I can reasonably still see a potential sell on pound yen. I think we went over this a few times in the market update. After the sell that I took here, I think price falls into a deeper correction now. Potentially is looking for downside still. This is the same thing as a few more other pound pairs I'll go over, but to me, I'm still potentially seeing a sell. This is a potential correction we're making. This move can push up, but as long as we're still getting a structure here, we're still getting a correction here to correct this impulsive move, then we're still likely to resume the downside after. So this week, I will pay very close attention to what will happen in this latest bit of area. We have this larger M style pattern, double top here, ascending channel. So all good bearish price action, impulse correction, impulse down to the previous low. Okay, so that is something I will look out for this week ahead. think a lot of these pound pairs are looking good, so I will still look for a potential sell or a weakness in pound pairs. Aussie yen is the other yen I do want to briefly talk about. I think there is something potential here. This potentially is a double top that we could be forming here. We don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but right now it seems like a ascending channel. We have an impulse down followed by a correction. Is this going to be a correction we break out and then continue lower? We don't know yet. I want to see a little bit more development while it's in this potential correction. Preferably is a breakout though, followed by continuation. Excuse me, guys. Potentially entering here in the lower time frame is not wrong. Remember, no right or wrong, but it's a little bit more risky if you're looking for a trade like this. You might not know if this correction is finished. All we can see right now is future highs and future lows, but not much else except this potential top, right? It's different than a couple other ones where we're seeing a little bit more clear price action. Over here in this can still lead into a bullish thing, right? As long as price hasn't break this previous low, right? As long as it hasn't break the low, then we're not confirmed that this is going to be some sort of bearish price action at the end. We don't know that yet, right? So I want to see the development here. I want to see a completion of this correction first, and then before looking for a potential sell, potential strength in the yen. Other than that, I don't really see other much yen pairs that are really on my watch list. I don't like this consolidation here on Euro yen and Kiwi yen. Similar like Aussie yen, I didn't put it on my watch, but similarly, right? There's something developing here. Right? We have an impulse correction, impulse potentially another correction. And same approach is I will wait for a breakout followed by continuation to push the price lower. Preferably again is I want to see price break this previous low area and then continue lower. That's going to give me a more bias on a higher time frame bearish move. But first thing first, right? We want to see a completion of this correction first. Okay, so that is Kiwi yen. Any questions so far? Now I'm gonna move on to a couple other ones. Almost wrapping up here, guys. So bear with me here, and I will jump into gold and oil after as well. So be there with me. So almost there. So Euro Swiss. Someone asked me about Euro Swiss. Starting from the higher time frame, looks like there is something here. Okay, looks like there's something here. I do want to point out. I like how we have this. Every time I talk about Euro Swiss, I don't think I've ever entered Euro Swiss position, but every time I talk about it, I notice the same thing, right? We have this double bottom, descending kind of channel. We have impulse up. This is a correction. We have another impulse up. Looks like we have another correction here. Can this correction lead into another impulse? Likely. I do see the price action here. I do see that there is a correction. There's a consolidation here on the lower time frame, which is good for price. If it push up here, potentially we can reach all the way to the previous high. That's a potential. Okay, that's a lot of room to the upside. But because the nature of Euro Swiss, I noticed they're always consolidating. They're always consolidating in something, in some form. We don't know if this is going to be a very strong impulsive move or a very, very just sideways movement slowly like this to move. We don't know that yet, right? I noticed Euro Swiss after this peg situation, right? This is the peg currency situation for a few years. And then we have this Swiss collab. And then after that, well, I'm not really seeing too much good price action in here, except the fact that we have this double bottom here. Okay, so if it's in your plan here to enter, sure. I think this is pretty valid for a lower time frame entry. I would wait for a breakout followed by continuation. That is going to be me if I was going to enter a trade like this. And higher time frame looks like there's a flag here in the making for the upside. Euro Aussie, I will talk about, sure. I didn't talk about dollar yen. I can talk about dollar yen right now. So dollar yen, again, I talked about this a few times when price hits this previous kind of a top of the channel, right? This is the top of the channel correction that we see on the higher time frame. We can clearly see this is a correction here in the making. And it's the same approach. When I talk about these ones, when I see price hit this is always that area I tell everyone to watch out for is when price impulsively push all the way to the upside, and if we didn't break out or if we broke out, but if there's no continuation, there is no buy for me, right? I was looking for a buy position here if it forms. But instead what it looks like, it's a impulse up, a reversal impulse down. So if it followed by reversal, a bearish continuation, head and shoulder, top of the overall price, I really expect this to start moving down afterwards in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So it's important this week to kind of watch out for a potential correction here in the making. If it does, then that's going to lead into a potential bearish price action, bearish movement down. And I think this is probably going to be a very good trade selling for the top here after we see price fail to continue higher. Okay, so this is definitely one I will watch out for. I didn't put it on my watch list surprisingly, but I think I was going over it. I just didn't put it on my watch list. But something I will watch out for if a right shoulder develop here, if some sort of bearish continuation develop here, I will be interested to take a potential head and shoulder back down to the previous low. All right, so that's dollar yen. We talk about euro Swiss. I'll talk about euro Aussie as well. So Euro Aussie, to me at least, I kind of stopped seeing that bearish kind of price action. I mean bullish price action. Sorry, I stopped seeing the bullish price action after I see this move here. Like this price did not continue higher after this previous high or this previous high. Really, you can see that there is some sort of ascending channel within this kind of larger ascending channel now. So the bullish price action, at least to me, is no longer there, right? It was there in the beginning. I had a few bullish buy here, but after price started forming something like this, if we look at the higher time frame, this kind of looks like almost like a flag now, and this can lead into another impulse down. So that's why it's not on my watch list, because I'm not seeing too much confluence right now. Right, this can lead into a small correction here, and we just start dropping more. Or this can just lead into that same thing I talk about in most of the crypto. We start climbing up here, we break the previous high. Preferably right now, what I'm seeing is more bearish, right? But it's not confirmed yet, and that's why it's not on my watch list. That's not really something I would really look to buy or sell at this given moment. I want to wait for a little bit more development. If this happens, then that will lead into a higher time frame bearish continuation. If this correction completes and we push down past this previous low, then more correction to go. All right, so moving on, Cat Swiss. I want to talk about Cat Swiss. I think this one could be something here in this upcoming week. So we see that standing channel, we have that strong impulsive move down. And it looks like we have some sort of a continuation correction. This correction is not finished yet, so don't rush to jump into something like this. We want to see what will happen in this latest bit of area, preferably more correction up to the upside, and then look for the sell down. I think that would be the most ideal case, probably the better risk reward after followed by a bearish impulse like this. I want to see just a little bit more development here on the lower time frame. There is something here, some sort of correction here. This is followed by a bearish kind of push down for the price, right? So this is all good, or it has very valid point to enter, but because it's the middle of this correction, and this correction looks like it's more as an expanding correction. Remember, I talk about expanding correction in my lessons and videos. They're a little bit more advanced because that advanced correction can lead into both a continuation or a potential reversal. So you want to be careful in this spot here. All right. Last one, I want to go over pound Swiss. I took a pound Swiss trade, if you guys recall from my trade recap video. I just exited for about 0.5%. Again, when I was looking back at this, probably could have exited for 1% after this bearish move down, but I was sleepy during the London session, so when I woke up, price has already climbed up quite a bit. But that's fine. Happy to take 0.5% profit, and I will be still looking for sell. Okay, my bias here on pound Swiss is still a potential sell. I like how we have this kind of ascending channel, rising wedge pushing the price up. First impulsive move down, potentially followed by a corrective phase, very similar like cat Swiss, right? Pound Swiss is also correcting, and if this move right here continue to the upside and then still have a reversal down, I would still be gladly to look for a potential sell for the top here. Okay, the longer and deeper this correction goes to correct this move, the better the next impulsive move will go. I always kind of talk about this. When you backtest, remember I'm doing a backtest workshop tomorrow, guys, if you're interested. But when you backtest enough, when you see the move play out over and over again, it will build confidence, it will build confirmation, and will make you to eliminate FOMO, fear of missing out. It will also help you to remove fear of losing, because when you backtest long enough, when you see the same price action play out, you will just naturally remove those negative emotions because you see it play out many times already. You know trading is all about probability, right? You know that there is a probability that we can continue down, but it's not 100%, and that's why we keep our risks small, we keep our reward big, and we be consistent enough to take trades over and over again, so that both of our winning trades will cover our losers and then some. All right, so that is pound Swiss. Any question here? I see Euro CAD. I'm not seeing too much on Euro CAD here. Originally, I was looking for a potential buy once we're at this low. This area, this last middle area, is a little bit quite unclear because you can argue this is a inverse head and shoulder to continue, or we might lead into a something else because we broke this previous low. We could be forming something like this to go lower. We don't know that yet. Okay, so that's why it's on my watch list, because it looks like we need more development here in this area here. All right. David, when I do multi-time frame analysis, I end up with so many lines I get confused. Make sure you have higher time frame and lower time frame separately. Okay, separately. What I mean by that, so if you should have a chart just for a higher time frame. So higher time frame buy. So for example, for pound kiwi, these are the lines for me on the higher time frame because it matters on the higher time frame structure. Okay. And on a lower time frame, you notice I don't need to draw the same lines. I need to focus on the lower time frame. All right, so try to distinguish them from a higher time frame and lower time frame perspective. And if you're not sure, I think I made a multi-time frame analysis video somewhere here. How to utilize multi-time frame analysis. You're welcome to watch this video here if you're looking for more how I utilize multi-time frame analysis. Okay, the truth for higher time frame analysis obviously is for confirmation, for entries, etc. But most importantly is to give you the best risk reward, right? If you can successfully forecast or analyze a potential bearish run on the higher time frame, the trick or the goal is to enter on a lower time frame basis, so that when you enter on a lower time frame basis, it's going to maximize your risk reward. Instead of entering a swing trade like this where your profit may or may not be big, if you enter on a lower time frame, you maximize your potential profit. That's pretty much why we use multi-time frame analysis, for a potential risk reward that it's in your favor. Pound dollar I already went over a few times, so you might have to watch that again. Euro dollar DXY, all that I went over earlier already, so you might have to rewatch that. Let's talk about commodities now. We went over all the Forex pairs, so let's wrap it up with commodities. What do I think about Aussie Swiss? Not much on Aussie Swiss because this is that previous low price just couldn't broker. Remember last week I talked about this can be a descending channel that will have a reversal, pretty much happen identically. And I mentioned because we didn't break this previous low, uh, this overall price here and so far in this consolidation is still not quite clear. I want to see price break the low here and continuation. That's going to give me a confirmation. Instead, all this currently right now, there's a few ways you can look at this, and I'm not seeing too clear right now on either one, so I'm happy to wait to see further development. Right, this descending channel kind of leads into an impulse. Is this going to be a continuation to go higher? We don't know that yet, right? So that's why it's not clear to me at this moment. So wrapping up with commodities here. Oil, I do want to talk about oil, and oil could be something here. I talked about this last week. I'm potentially looking for a sell on oil. Actually, that's my bias right now. I like how oil is pushing down. We have this clear impulse down. I talk about this can be a continuation correction right now in the making, and impulse followed by correction, looking for the next impulse, right? And but this top right here, look like we're consolidating here, which is also a good thing. Um, looks like we could be getting this potential ascending channel structure. And I personally will be looking to see if this is going to correct a little bit longer, or we're going to break down followed by correction, and looking for the sell down to the previous low or this previous low as the matter. So preferably see this correction because the oil setting a bigger stop loss like this obviously doesn't make sense. I think setting a stop loss something like this will make a lot more sense, but preferably try to keep it within a dollar-ish range so you can actually maximize the potential run on oil. Even entering here with anything like $2 or so, I think it's pretty wide stop loss. Of course, that's safer, but also your reward is greatly diminishing, right? It's about only 2.3%. But if I enter at a smaller scale on a lower time frame move, I potentially maximize my risk reward like this. Okay, so but that fits my plan though to enter like this, right? If as long as you have a plan to execute, this is always what I emphasize on. You have a plan to execute, you understand the risk that's involved, right? It's always double edged in everything we do in trading. Entry here is more reward potentially, but also risky because tighter stop loss. Entry here is safer, but you probably have a wider stop loss and less profit. Okay, so there is always going to be a pros and a con everything we do in trading. Okay, so that is oil. So let's wrap it up with gold. We've been kind of all looking at gold for a while, so let's take a look at gold. So gold, sorry, I got lost track with comments. So what do I see on gold here? Well, to be honest, it's the same kind of approach still. This is that previous high. We broke the previous high, yes, but the last confirmation I want to see is some sort of continuation if I'm looking for a buy. I still have the structure draw like this because I can still see a potential continuation bearish structure that it's in the making. Okay, this move up, breaking the high here. A lot of times I call this trapping the FOMO buyers, right? The FOMO traders, fear of missing out. They think this is supposed to go take off now. If this is supposed to go take off, you're going to see price action every time. You're going to see corrections because that is how the price moves. It's never going to be a straight line like this. Okay, so the more you need, the more you do the more you do back testing, the more you do chart work, the more you will get that price doesn't fly off like this in a straight line, and then you pretty much don't need to worry that the price will just take off without you, right? So you have to train your brain, you have to train yourself, understand that we wait for confirmation, we wait for price action, right? We wait for impulsive phrase followed by corrective phrase. So if this is going to be impulse phrase, look for correction after, right? The best correction to look for after is we break out the higher time frame correction. That's going to give you the best entry, the best potential entry, right? But if you're looking for entry like this, make sure that we are for sure having a confirmation impulse, confirmation continuation, and looking for the buy after. Okay, so okay, any question on gold here, guys? I know we talked about gold a few times, but that's kind of what I see on gold currently. This is that area that to watch out for, okay? So if you're in the buy here, if you're in the buy on gold, again, wait for confirmation correction here if you're going to hold it. If you're not in gold, same idea, right? If you're looking for buy, that's the same approach I'll have here. Okay, so but if we look at it another perspective, my perspective is that overall this move to from here to down, this is still one big impulsive phrase in my opinion. There is a few correction here, of course, so impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, and we're looking for a larger continuation. This can lead into the next correction. That leads down to this previous low, and higher time frame wise, we can still have this potential higher time frame continuation to go higher, but just understand that within one big higher time frame correction, there is a lot of lower time frame continuation, lower time frame price action, be able to push the price left and right. Okay, so we're not 100% sure when this higher time frame correction will finish, but we understand that the lower time frame is developing something. So we can't ignore that, right? We can't just be thinking about the higher time frame supposed to take off, but we didn't count towards what the lower time frame is doing. All right, so that's something I would suggest to everyone, just so you guys know how I see these. That is gold, guys. Any question on this one? Do I follow candlestick formation digital world? Um, I use candlestick. I don't really use. Sorry, put it this way. Candlestick confirmation or candlestick formation is an added confluence. Added confluence to me means it's an extra thing to have, but it's not necessary. Overall price we're looking at is the price action, because it doesn't matter what kind of instrument I'm looking at. Let's say I change it to line, I change it to anything else. Let's change it to bar. I change it to area. Doesn't matter, right? I'm changing it to any single thing. The moment I change it away from candles, there is no more candlestick formation. Yes, but there is perfectly price action still. We still see the impulse. We still see correction. We still see correction. We still see the larger structure, right? So structure is number one, right? We don't need to look at candlestick. Candlestick will be good as an added confluence, meaning that you need to, when you see a move, when you're looking for entry, to me, the candlestick could be the last confirmation. It shouldn't be the first, or it shouldn't be the only. Some people just simply trade on candlestick formation without looking at the overall price, without looking at price action, without looking at the nature of the market, without looking at impulsive phrase or corrective phrase. Pretty much that is a wrong way of trading. To only look at candlestick without actually looking at the overall picture and multi-time frame analysis. So there's a lot to take in my opinion. There's a lot to take in. We shouldn't just solely rely on candlestick. To me, there's an added confluence at the last. It's not the first, and it's not the only. Right? So, do I use limit order or market order? I always use entry orders, so always use limit orders. I always use stop entry order. I don't use limit order. There's a difference between the two, right? When we look stop entry order, we're looking for price to continue and tag me in. This is a buy stop order. This is a sell stop order, right? I don't use buy limit or sell limit. Buy limit means price push up has to pull back to here before it buy. That's a buy limit order. Sell limit order, same thing. Sell have to pull back before they get triggered. We always use stop entry order for the price to take us in because we're always trying to look for the impulsive phrase, right? So for example, on oil here, if I'm looking for a sell, this is a correction, right? We want to see the correction push down, lower time frame correction. I will set a stop entry order like this. I will set a stop entry order like this, right? And then put a stop entry order like this and tag me in like that. Right, so we never make, I personally don't take market order rarely because I think that's a lot of emotional decisions. When you have your phone with you, when you have your broker app beside you, you're going to take a lot of market orders, and a lot of new traders or beginning traders always take market orders. They're letting their emotion to make decisions. Just let's say some new traders take a few losses, they're emotional, they're fear, they're in a revenge setting, so they want to enter more trades, and all they do is on their phone start entering back trades. I don't think that's very good plan if you're going to let your if you're gonna let your emotion to decide on your trading outcome, right? So remove your emotion, let the market come to you, right? Set stop entry order so that you know the only time you'll be executed is when the price pushes you to that entry. You're not making market order based on your own decision. Okay, so hope that helps. Pound dollar, I went over that multiple times, so you might have to watch that again, Andre. How do you define stop? I made several videos about that, so you can take a look at risk management in my YouTube. 3 entries, how to set target, how to set stop loss in these videos. You can watch them. There's a lot of these videos. It's too lengthy to talk about here, so spend some time to watch them if you're interested. Do I trade commodities? Yeah, just went over these commodities positions. Sorry, I didn't watch that question. So I do trade commodities. I do talk about commodities. So I believe you believe pound dollar is almost a good place to buy. Sure, if you have a plan, right? I always talk about there's no right and wrong to people who are looking for trades, whatnot. If you're looking for buy, look for buy as long as that follows your plan. I personally is looking for sell, and that follows my plan. So there's no right and wrong, guys. Try to understand there is no right and wrong in trading. You might be looking for a buy, perfectly fine, as long as you have a plan to execute, plan to set your stop loss, plan to take profit, whatever it is, good. And I might be looking for a sell because I have a plan to look for a sell. I'm looking for, uh, I have a good plan to set the stop loss. I have a good plan to set the take profit, and I like the overall higher time frame potential bearish bias. So no right or wrong, guys. Try to think about that way and make trading a lot easier. Okay, it's the same example I used earlier. Someone who's scalping on a 1 minute chart is looking for buy, buy, buy. Someone who is a swing trader holding the trade for weeks or months is looking for sell. So who's right and who's wrong? Neither of them, right? Because the trader who's scalping is looking for buy because they're going to execute the trade. They're going to take out the trade very fast. So it doesn't matter if the overall higher time frame is bearish. All they're doing is they're trying to get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out on the lower time frame, and that's reasonable to their plan, reasonable to their strategy, and reasonable to their perspective. Okay, whereas a swing trader is thinking, well, scalping is too hard or scalping is too much of my time. I'm looking for a sell. I'm looking for a hold, long-term hold. I don't really care what's happening on the lower time frame. I'm overall bias is a sell, and they're going to hold the trade longer, maybe for weeks or months, and they don't care about the lower time frame movement as long as the higher time frame is still telling them bearish. Right, so that it should give some of you guys a little bit more perspective, or maybe that aha moment that I always hear people talk about, the aha moment when that clicks to them. All right, so did I go over silver? I did not. Let me talk about silver. I don't think I see much on silver. I I don't see much on silver right now. I want to see silver actually make this move down to the low here, if that's going to happen. I preferably see this as some sort of continuation correction to go lower to the lows of this correction here, and then looking for further upside from here. Okay, so, but right now I'm not really seeing too much. This week, this can lead into that bearish move down for the price, right? And then higher time frame wise, looking for obviously a long-term buy if we get a completion of this correction here. But I think that's too early, not likely to happen this week. But my overall higher time frame bias after this strong bullish push is waiting for continuation here and looking for the next buy afterwards. Okay, but like I said, for now, at least for this week, if this leads into a bearish move, great. That's kind of what I expect it to happen, and then take it from there. So, futures are down. Maybe gold will spike. Maybe not. We don't know. So we'll take a look. We'll see how it goes. Does currency correlation work? I personally don't care too much about currency correlation. I would care more about the individual price action. I think that's more key to me when I'm looking for setups. I don't care too much, meaning that if you're thinking about yens are going to get strength, meaning yens are going to get bearish because they're getting strength, doesn't necessarily all the yen pairs will get strength. Just like if you're thinking the dollar pair, if you're thinking euro dollar is supposed to go down, meaning dollar will get strength because euro dollar is going down, but sometimes the other dollars won't. Okay, so I always individually do the analysis on each individual pair. I think that's the best. All right, so that is it, guys. That is it for this week. Any last minute questions? I'm happy to answer some questions now for you guys. Been talking an hour and a half or so, so I'm gonna wrap it up in the next 5 minutes or so. But any pairs that I haven't gone over or any questions from me, happy to answer. You're gonna get a lot of my content on YouTube already, so if you haven't really subscribed, you find all these free information on here. I keep getting the same questions, so I'll go over this really quick. All the price action, all the corrections or patterns that you hear me talk about is all here in this price action playlist. Risk management, we just went over that, right? Super important. You should watch a few of these to understand why we have good risk management. And trading psychology. 95% traders fail, right? So why do they fail? They don't have the right trading mindset, right? They're either trying to have fear of missing out or some sort of get rich quick schemes, thinking about how much money they can make, and I think that's all not on the right track, right? You're here for the long haul. You're trying to be consistent trader. You're not here to get rich quick. People who want to trade to get rich quick usually always end up failing. People who understand trading is about consistency, sustainability, are the ones that are going to succeed. Okay. Tomorrow I'm actually doing a backtesting workshop, right? I did a price action workshop last time. That turned out to be very, very good. If I recall, last time I did this live stream, I think quite a bit of you guys turned up, and it was one of the better ones the better stream out there that I did, that a lot of you guys turn out. So if you guys like these kind of workshop that I host, I'm doing one tomorrow. It's gonna be on backtesting, how to backtest. Let me just show you how to backtest. Okay, how to backtest, why we backtest, and etc. And then pretty much the reason why we backtest. There's technical, there's psychological side of things why we backtest. It's going to be great for people who are struggling with consistency or people who are struggling with trading psychology, right? FOMO. I think if you really backtest, if you really put in the work, if you put in the effort and time, you will remove fear of missing out. You will remove fear of losing. You'll remove a few of those trading psychological errors that people make. Okay, so really have to put in the time and effort. All right, guys. Will you check crypto? I already did in the beginning. I checked pretty much all the crypto pairs already in the beginning. If you have specific one, I can go over one or two really quick. So Aussie. I don't really go over those exotic one, but I will go over this one for you. So this, I think I talked about this last week. We're at this area where potentially we can form expanding structure, right? Talk about expanding structure is one of those advanced structures where we're at this previous high already, so a potential double top in the making. Double top followed by expanding structure is very tricky, in my opinion. There's can be only two kind of scenario, right? The double top here leads into this expanding structure. We can potentially just reverse back down, and then we pretty much a huge reversal at the top of that overall double top area, higher time frame double top, expanding structure, and then we push down. Right, that's one kind of scenario. But sometimes the expanding structures can be continuation. This is an impulse correction. We could potentially impulse above that double top and then potentially go higher like this. Okay, so I would be really careful here if you're in the trade. I don't know if you're buying or selling, but I prefer really to see what will happen in this expanding structure. Can it complete? Can it finish? And then we're going to see a little bit more development for the price. So what would I say about support resistance? I made several videos or posts on why on support resistance, on EMA and things like that. I don't have anything against them, but for them to be paired with price action, I really don't think it's going to work in our favor, really. Because when people have support resistance, it's going to be like this, right? You're going to have few support resistance going across. And the way how we analyze the market, the way how we trade impulses phase, having support resistance will never allow you to trade through them, right? I don't trade support resistance, but at least I know the fundamental behind it. You're not supposed to trade through a support resistance. I think everybody would agree who use support resistance. So if you use support resistance, you're never going to catch the impulsive phase because the impulsive phase are always going to break that support resistance when it's time to impulse up. When it's correcting, then the correction works well with the support resistance. But when the correction completes, when the next impulsive phase happens, the support resistance is no longer going to be valid in that case. Okay, so that's what I have to say about it. Nothing against them. I think there's great strategy out there who trade support resistance and people who are profitable from it. It's really the people, the traders who execute a strategy. Do they follow the strategy 100%? Do they actually follow their trading plan? Do they actually know risk management, the trading psychology, all that aspect? Because most of the strategy will work. You don't necessarily have to trade the same thing I trade. Most of the strategy out there will work, but can you follow that strategy 100%? Most traders cannot, and that's why most traders get into that fear of missing out, fear of losing. All the trading psychological aspect comes in. They start deviate from their plan. They start executing trades without even following their plan, and eventually blow up their account, and then blame the strategy, right? But that's people's ego, right? To be a successful, consistent trader, you need to first remove your ego, actually remove it 100%. Truly believe you're in charge of your trading account, no one else is. It's not your broker, it's not the market, it's not your mentor, it's not anything, it's not your strategy. You yourself as a trader ultimately controls and impact your trading account. So drop your ego, understand if you make a mistake, you make a mistake, work on it, journal down your trade, work on that emotion side and be better trader. Don't blame others for your own mistake. That's the step one, right? When you realize that trading ultimately relies on your decision and your own management, then trading will be a lot simpler. All right. Bitcoin Cash, not much after seeing kind of this like strong impulse followed by reversal impulse. I talk about most of the crypto. Same idea here is wait for a little bit more development here if it's going to form some sort of right shoulder or a right kind of continuation flag. If that doesn't happen, then wait for that slowly incline move from the price. That's usually going to happen after this kind of move. Okay, so I don't have really any price action or anything to show you at Bitcoin Cash here, okay? Have I looked at Aussie and Kiwi pairs already? I did, Igor, but I do agree kind of what you were saying in the Telegram. I do reasonably think there is still a possibility that we could get bearish price action on most of them, right? So Aussie pair, Kiwi pair as well. Kiwi pair, I think this is what you were saying as well, right? I think you were looking at potentially some of them still resuming its bearish move. And I do agree with that as well. I do see that they can have potential to resume the bearish move also. Okay. KSN. KSN USDT, yeah. Well, this could be something here. I'm still seeing if this is going to be a structure on its own. We have impulses move up correction, and this is a potential larger correction in the making. Preferably is to wait for that strong breakout followed by correction. That will mean that this correction is potentially over. All right. So that's KSN. Last one to wrap it up is Ripple. So we talked about Ripple in the beginning. We talked about Ripple had pretty much triple its price from the bottom here, right? This is the original higher time frame correction. We have this strong massive bullish push to the upside. And like I always talk about is when we see a strong bullish push up, naturally the price needs to correct, right? Naturally the price needs to form bigger correction. So I see a few scenario here. If we can just see this as a potential flag, this can continue upward just like that. And sometimes we're going to get a deeper correction like this, at least a bigger swing highs and swing lows, but still classified as a correction. So impulse correction, we still go up afterwards. So that's something I will be watching out for this week. Looks like some of these are recovering. Let's take a look at a few of them. Yeah, you see they're mostly are recovering. So which is a good thing. If you're still in some of these coins, if you're trading them or if you're holding the coins, I personally is holding a lot of coins, but the trades that I enter on LTC and Stellar, I all exit for one-to-one profit. But most of them looking like they're just resuming, right? After that bearish kind of sharp move to the downside, we're slowly climbing up. So that's the scenario 2 that I talk about. We can slowly just have that little incline up and potentially push above the high, and we continue higher afterwards. Okay, so that's the scenario that can happen. But don't discount the fact that we could be leaning towards another correction, like a bearish correction like this, and then that will go down also. Right, so always be prepared of the possible development on crypto, on the pairs on the market, so you're best prepared for them when that happens. Last one, Binance Coin is definitely the one I will be looking out for potential buy. We talked about Binance Coin from the bottom here after we broke out this higher time frame correction here, right? So there's a strong bullish impulse. We break above the correction here, and pretty much we're forming another continuation. So same approach like Ripple, right? We have this bullish impulse up. This is a correction in the making. If this just breaks above followed by a lower time frame, then look to get it like this. And sometimes we might be forming that deeper correction that I talk about. So a little bit push up, push down, forming a deeper correction, but still a continuation correction. So impulse, correction, look for the next impulse. All right, so that's it for me. I'm gonna wrap it up now. Like I said, tomorrow, New York session, 14 o'clock GMT. I am doing a back testing session. So if you're around or you're awake or different time zone you're at, welcome to let me know. I mean, welcome to join me live. I will talk about all the benefits of backtesting, etc. So the last price action workshop was a really good success. So I hope to achieve the same. Hope to pass on the knowledge and experience to everyone. So feel free to tune into that. If not, then I will do another market update live stream either on Tuesday morning or Thursday morning. So stay tuned with that. All right, everyone. So yeah, so hope to see you guys all next time. So be safe out there. Be safe out there wherever you guys are. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hope to see you guys all next time. Thank you very much.